Good evening, students. So today we are going to start with HTML5 for class 8. Let's start. So today's topics that we are going to discuss are what are the lists in HTML and what are the different properties on the list that we can apply or we can use using HTML. So I hope you have little bit knowledge on HTML as it was in your last previous class as well, and the basic HTML tags, that is like single tag or the pair tag. Like this one is known as a single tag, and the tag that comes with a starting tag and ending tag are known as paired tag. And whatever and I hope you remember that whatever the content we would write in this body, inside this body tag, that would be displayed on our web page. So basically this HTML is used to create the web pages. So let's start with our today's topic. So in the list we have seen lists basically are used to display related items one below the other. So if this is means basically if you have seen that whenever there are like on your book index you have seen that the topic wise there are certain lists. So that means those topics are related to the one another. So we can represent those items as a list on HTML. So in HTML5 there are three types of lists. First is ordered list, second is unordered list, and third one is known as either definition list or description list. Let's see what is the ordered list. So basically the ordered list is also known as numbered list. Why we are calling it as a numbered list? The reason is because with the items that would be represented, it would be using some numbered form. So it would be like 1, 2, 3, and then your list item. So that's why it is called as numbered list. Then in this, every item in this list is preceded by a number of letters to represent each item of the list. That means whatever be the this item would be, so it would be preceded by a particular number that will tell that this is the part of this particular ordered list. In HTML, whenever we are using this ordered list, so we will use this OL tag, and inside that we will create our item with the help of li tag. So let's see how we can create it. So by default the list is displayed with numbers only. That means by default the format is this. So this is one of the examples for ordered list. So as I told you that whatever we have written in the body tag, that would be presented on our web page. So we have created one text like this, and then we have created our ordered list with the help of OL, and then we have written this li, that is for list item. So first we have created copy, then we have added t, and then we have added mail, and after that we have closed this order list. When we save it, so I hope you remember that whatever the file would be saved with dot .stm or dot .html extension. If the file has this extension, that means it represents a web page and it would be opened like for a default like for some files there are default browser, like default software, sorry. So those out of them, the browser is one of the default software which is used for these particular files. So whatever the default browser you have set, like suppose you have set Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox. So these are some popular browsers that we generally use in our system. So if any of them is your default browser, so this file will be opened in that particular browser. So you can see the output of this file is, it is the text and then it has displayed 1, 2, 3. These are the three items that we have created in the list. So whatever be the next item, it would be numbered as 4 and then the item. Now there is another example, like we can create the ordered list with other number format as well. So other number format such as we can start with A, B, C and so on, or we can start with A, B, C and so on. So how we can do it? So there is an attribute which is called as type. So if it in this we can define whatever be the numbered format for our ordered list. So the number format defined over here will be shown as output. That means these three items now will be numbered as A, B and C. So there are other possible values for this type. So that could be a small alphabetical order, or Roman order in capital, or Roman order in small. So let's see one example how we can do that and how we can see that it is working or not. So here is a website that is w3schools.com. So you can go for this for your online practice. It provides you the platform by which you can directly run your code over here, and you don't need any browser or something for that. Just a second. Let's keep it over here, and over here you can see that it is a default list. And let's check another type that we can use. Let's use type equal to I, and after doing that, when I click on this run, so you can see that now over here it is displaying the number format as 1, 2, first, second and third. So this is how you can change the number format for your ordered list. Remember, whatever the value we are providing to the attribute, it should be in double quotes only. Because as per the HTML, it is a hypertext markup language. So the tags are marked up and they have a particular syntax. So generally we provide in double quotes only. Although if you are providing some numerical values, like in case of we will see later on, there would be some other attribute in which we can provide the numerical values. So in that case, the double quotes can be omitted. But if we have a value in the form of text like this, we have I, we can use the capital Roman as well, like this one. So once we use it and we run it again, so you can see now that it is in capital form. So for that purpose, the value must be provided in double quotes. Let's see now the second list is unordered list. So this list basically this is called as unnumbered list or bulleted list. Why it is called so? Because basically in this we are going to use some symbols to represent our list items. So the same thing in this item would be represented or preceded by a bullet, which is a symbol used to represent each item of the list. That means now we would get something like this circle, which would be filled one. This is the default format, and then there would be our item. So that's why it is called as bulleted list or unnumbered list. To use this list, we will use UL tag, which is the starting tag to start this particular list, and the same li tag will be used to represent the list item. By default, the list is displayed with filled circles, or we can say as this. So let's see an example for the same. So you can see that to define a list, we have used this UL tag, and then we have defined our list item. Now when we go to the output, again we will save it in a .html format, and when we run it, so we can see that this would be the output that would be displayed on browser. I hope this is clear to you. Now again, so similar to the numbered list, over there we have Roman, alphabetical, or 1, 2, 3. In this type of list, we have again the same attribute but different values. If we provide circles, So there would be this circles would be there that are not filled. There are some other values as well, that is we can use a square. So when we use the square, so there would be like a square, filled square would be represented in front of this item. Let's see the example. So you can see by default it is this one because we haven't defined any type. Let's define its type. You have seen the type value circle. Let's check for a square how it is represented. So I have given the type as square, and when I run it, so you can check now the circle has been replaced with some rectangular. So I hope this is clear to you that this is how we can define our unordered list in HTML. Let's see our third type of list, which is known as definition list or description list. So in the definition list or description list, basically used to build a list of definitions. So to understand this list, you can imagine as I hope you have seen an English dictionary or your Hindi dictionary. In the dictionary, we see there is a word like say able, and below that we used to get its different meaning, and below that we used to get some sentences for an example or something like that. So similar to that, to define some particular terms, we use this definition list. So to start this list, we use the DL tag. Inside that, there would be a DT tag which will refer to your definition term. So you can imagine that DT would be your this able. And the DD is definition description, or you can say that whatever the list term we are using to give some description or to give some meaning for that particular word, we provide in DD. So you can imagine that in a dictionary you get the list definition term, like suppose there is a word able or like there is a word allow, and below that you get its different synonyms, meanings, and some sentences as an example. So those will be given in DD tag, and this able or allow will be given in your DT tag. So let's see an example for that. So inside that, this is how we define a description list. So you can see that we have started the DL list, and here first we define the definition term, and then we have defined its definition. So in this particular list, you define the definition, basically you provide the definition description just after the definition term. And it would be represented with some space, and after that the term would be there. Just to show the difference that it is the description and this one is term. Otherwise, you won't be able to, find a difference that which one is the term and which one is the description. Similarly, this is another term we are using and this is its description. So let's see an example. So over here, so this is the same thing, and when I run it, so you can see that there is a change. So for more simplicity, let's do not use the symbol over here, so it will help you to know. You can see that this space has been already provided by HTML just to make the difference between the definition term and the definition description. There is no type, like in the previous two lists we have seen that there were two types of there were different types, like in the numbered list we have seen, like when we were using the numbered list, so we have seen there were type like 1, A, capital A, small I, or the Roman one. So these were the different types in our ordered list, while in our unordered list we have seen circle, square, and disk. So this one was the default, while these two we can provide in our type attribute. So these were the type in unordered list, and these were the types in our ordered list. And in ordered list, the number that is 1 was the default value. So in this definition list, we don't get such type over here, because for this it is simple, it is just a term, and we are providing the description to that. So in this case, we don't get any such preceding symbol or any number. There is one more attribute in the ordered list that may help you to work with your ordered list in a better way. Like suppose you want to start, as of now you can see that this particular list is starting with 1, 2, 3. And suppose there might be a case where you want to start with some another specified number. Let's say you want to start it with 4. So how you can do it, there is an attribute that is start, and inside that you can provide the value from where you want to start your list. So once you provide that number, so you can see now the list would be started from that particular number. This case is only, this attribute is only belong to the ordered list, because basically in unordered list we have the symbol, so that symbol don't follow any order. So this start will work for any kind of type, like if I using a small alphabet, so when I do it, so you can check that just a second. It seems like this is stuck. So if I provide start equals to, let's say, third in Roman, I'm gonna run it. Okay, so it is not working for the Roman. So basically it would work for your number only, that when you start with the some numbers, that random numbers you want to start from specific, so that you can do with the help of this started. Now let's see another example. So that is, if you want to merge your multiple lists into the single one, that is, if you want to do something like nesting of lists, then HTML allows you for that also. So you can make like an ordered list can be nested within an unordered list, or vice versa. That means you can create one unordered list inside an ordered list, or you can create an unordered list inside an ordered list. So let's see an example. So over here you can see that we have started one unordered list with the item first is coffee and second is tea. And inside the tea, we have defined that there would be two more types. That is, either it would be a black tea or it would be a green tea. So we over here we have defined one unordered list, and inside that another unordered list. So there is nothing such that you can't do for ordered list or unordered. It is vice versa. Or you can use either both of the lists as ordered list, or you can use both of, or one is ordered and another is unordered. Let's see in an example. So over here you can see that both are the unordered list. Let's make it this one as ordered list, and let's see the input. So you can see that now it is displaying in number format. So similarly, if I want to make the outer list, that is this one. So this particular list will be called as outer list, and this will be called as inner list. So let's make it the unordered one, and let's make this one as ordered list. So you can see it is saying that now the outer one are coming as a number one, and the inner list is coming as bullet. So you can use any of the things, like if you want to use the both as ordered list, you can use that also, and if you want any of them as a ordered and another one as unordered, so you can that also. Let's move to our next topic. So there are basically some of the properties that you can set with the help of CSS. So I hope you have some knowledge about CSS. So basically, if we talk about the CSS, so CSS is nothing it is called as cascading style sheet. So basically, cascading style sheet helps you to to design your list or to provide some what we can say designing to your particular list, or you want to decorate your list, so you can do with the help of this CSS property. So basically, there are four CSS properties that we can apply. One is list style type. So this property is similar to the type attribute. Second one is image. This one we can use like if you want to use some image in place of numbers or in place of symbols, so we can provide the list style image. Then we have position, that is outside or inside. That means generally when you write the item, so it would be like a particular space, then your item would be there, then a second, then. But if you want to provide some space between the number and that particular item, so for that we use this list style position. And at the last we have this list style, which is a combination of all these three properties. That means with the help of this property, you can combine all these three property into a single. Let's see some examples of this. So like in the case, if we are using this list style type property, so we have to use either a style tag in HTML, and inside that we can provide this we can set these properties, or we can use in the tag itself there is an attribute with the name style, and in that, in double quotes, we can provide those properties. So we can use any of these ways to set these properties. So what we have to do is we have to provide this value. So value would be, in the case of unordered list, it could be none, disk, circle, or square. So we have seen that disk is the default one, while in the case of ordered, you can provide either decimal leading 0, lower Roman, upper Roman, lower alpha, upper alpha. So let's see the example. So you can see over here we have defined four particular lists. So out of them, two are ordered lists and two are unordered lists. So over here they are using some class properties. To make it simpler, let's remove this class properties. That will help you to understand the concept. So let's use simple UL. So basically we can set the properties with the help of either classes or with the tag itself. So we are going to use simply this one, so that it would be easier for you to understand without using any further attribute. So now in this particular example, what I have done is I have set for unordered list, I have set the type as circle, and for ordered list, I have set the type as lower alpha. Let's run this. So you can see that this particular list, that is first one is unordered, so it is coming with the hollow circle, and the second one for which we have set this as lower alpha, it is coming in lower alphabetical order, like A, B, C, like this one in lower order. So I hope this property is clear to you. Now let's move to the next property. So next property we have list style image. So by this we can set some image in place of numbers or in place of symbols. So it is simple. We will use list style image, and in the value we will provide the URL of that particular image. Wherever it is saved, so we will provide that particular URL. So let's see the example of this. So I have already saved these examples for you guys, so you don't get to confuse that how it is coming or something. So first let's check the default one. So you can see by default it is showing this bullet. Okay. Now let's set the property, that is, now we have set a image that is with the this sq purple.jf. So this is the image we have set in place of the bullet. So let's see when we have applied this property and we run it. So now you can check this particular bullet has been converted into this image. That means they have this image and they have just simply changed those bullets with this image. Now how you can also apply, so wherever you are saving those file, that means your HTML file, so at that same place you have to put your image and then you have to provide that path. Or like suppose you have saved your on a desktop, you have created one folder with the name, let's say HTML, and inside this you have saved your file with the name example.html. Okay, now you want to add the image for that particular list, so either you have to put the image in the same folder and then directly you can provide the name of the image, or if that image is like suppose somewhere around on the desktop and there is some another folder of image and the image is inside that, then you have to copy this complete path, that is desktop slash image and then image name, and then you have to provide that URL in this particular URL. Only after that your image would be displayed, otherwise it won't be displayed. So the best thing is if you keep your image and your file at the same place. So in that case you have to simply provide the image. Now we have this another property, that is list style position. So as I told you, there are two values only, inside and outside. Let's see the example. So you can check there are two unordered lists they have set. One is okay. So just to make it clear to you, let me make the first one as ordered, and similar to that, like we have set earlier on the tag itself, so we will do that. They are using the CSS class concept. So when we will go to the CS properties, so I'll give you some insight in that how we can use. So you can check there are two properties, outside and inside. So how they are using, let's run it again. So you can check when we are using the outside, so our text is coming in the same format like we used to have. That is the default. So this is the default property. And for the unordered list, we have set the value as inside. So when we do it as an inside, so you can check that there is some space which is left out. And after that, the item is written and then we are getting the complete description, whatever that we have provided. So this is the small difference you can see in the case of outside and in the case of inside. So this is just a formatting thing. Sometimes you want to provide some space after you are starting your list and then you want to start your item. So you can use inside, or otherwise you can use the default with the help of outside. Then we have this last property, that is list style. So as I told you earlier, it is combination of all values. So if any of the one of the values missing, like first we will provide the type, then we will provide its position, and at last we will provide the image. So this is the order we generally follow. Okay, in case if we are not following this order, and if we have suppose we are not providing this type, we are just providing the position and the image, in that case it will take the default value for this particular type. So let's understand it with an example. So like this, you can see we are using the square and the properties inside. Let's do not use these two properties. Simply use list style and then we run it. So you can check now it is at the left side. Now let's provide all those values, square, inside, and then URL and then the name. So now you can check that when we are using the inside value, it has been shifted toward that. So this is the property how it was if we are not providing it. So by default the properties were outside and now we are using the images, so the images is being shown. Let's say we are not using the images. Let's remove it and then run it. So you can check the difference over here. So there is a gap over here and the type that we have provided, like we have provided this square, so the square is there. Now let's, if we remove the square as well and just keep the inside value and then we run it, so you can check the default was bullet, that is this. So those things are being shown, and there is a slight gap between this bullet and the icon. So this is how you can create your list and you can manipulate your list with the properties. I hope you have enjoyed this session. So let's meet in our next sessions. Those were the next topics in SQL we are going to learn. And if you have any query or any questions regarding this, please keep looking into the Learn Forward app. You can post your queries or you can ask some questions if you want to. And also you can provide any feedback regarding this. If you are anything else, so please post it on the Learn Forward app. Keep learning and keep with us. Thank you.